СВОшник, ЧВК Вагнер, мне вообще... Наша позиция просто навести порядок. Вот и все.
And I get curious, what life is like in the cities where Russian soldiers come from. This guy, for example, he is from Magnitogorsk. This is an industrial region, pretty rich one. To get a sense of what a life in this city really look like, I found a local blogger who thinks about black metallurgy industry and the problems with the clean air. The funniest part to me is the ad in her video. You can check clean air online. And right below the ad, there was a news headline saying a fisherman got eaten by a bear. And the guy from this city, the city which looked like this, came to my home to bring order. And here is another example of a whole gang. They came to my home with the same goal, to bring order. Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, this is I don't know, it's so far away, it's even further than the previous region. You know, it's closer to USA, to the Alaska, than to Ukraine. So, what I know about this region, I heard about this village, Sedanka. Sedanka is not just a village, and this is a first village of military glory. Because of half of the men went to war with Ukraine. What is half of the men? Like, I found information that there is 258 people there, and about 70 men, and 40 of them went to the war. And you see, like, half of them, I understand, they return to their city, but they're not good, feel well. I suppose they dead. So how this city look like? I found a TV reporter who talked about the problem in this village, and I didn't expect this. The first thing that I learned that they're great nature. Okay, I don't argue with this. The second thing, they don't use money to pay for things. They use fuel, or yeah, just fuel. What the fuck? Most of the money where locals spend money, it's wood, and they just trying to survive in the winter.
Ну вот надо мне 30 тысяч, все-то не могу отдать с весны.
Another thing, they don't have the access to the clean water. They really suffer from a lack of water.
Ой, вот это тоже проблема. Помоюся, не помоюся, кому-то пойдешь попросить, сейчас я теплице мою.
She couldn't bath herself. So, in order to solve it, this is the mayor. Not maybe the mayor, but the guy who in charge. And he promised the local to build a bathhouse. But it was 12 years ago. Oh no, it was 13 years ago, in 2012. And the guy, he created a plan of how to build the bathhouse, and I understand him that this is a real hard thing to build the house there. You can think that there are a lot of wood or something, but no. Like, I found the story when there were a guy, he dead, and they needed to bury him, and they needed to build a coffin first. And there is no wood to build a coffin, so they dismantle someone's house to build a coffin to put this man into the ground. So you can imagine what is the problem to build a bathhouse there, because they don't have wood to build a coffin. And why is this? Because there is no roads to this place. If you wanted to leave this place, you need to buy a ticket for the plane. If you wanted to bring something to this place, you still can use only the plane to bring something there. That's why they suffer. But let's talk about the pluses of this place. Great nature and horses. They still use horses because the fuel is like a money, and it's really hard to find. So the horses, it's easier one, and these horses drink this dirty water, and this is their problem as well. And also the problem with the trash. When they don't clean the trash, the wild animals like bears, wolves, not wolves, foxes, came to the village and attacked the locals. So yeah, this is hard. This is really hard life there. They really try to survive, but it's not an excuse to come to me to make more money in order to survive. Another problem, by the way, this is deputy, her husband went to the war in Ukraine, and husband was killed because he is an occupant. And she couldn't get the money from the government. The government just doesn't care. They won't pay this woman the money. You could think that I'm choosing only the places far away from Moscow, of the middle of nowhere. But let's check something closer. For instance, Нижегородская область.
Нахожусь на второй железнодорожной улице. Вот почтальон, вот сумка, вот я. Только что вон оттуда засосала по самую нехочуху.
Let's check the second huge city in Russia, Saint Petersburg. Of course, people here live like a decent life, but people outside the Saint Petersburg, for instance, this guy, this is a soldier who lost his life in Ukraine, and the guy was from a Saint Petersburg region, and more specific from this village, Tervenichi. Let's look at the central street in this village. What can we look? Yeah, the wooden houses. Okay, that's what I expected. Remember, guys, outside the Moscow, outside the Saint Petersburg, they all will have the wooden houses because they spent all their money for the war in Ukraine. They spent all their money for, build more weapon and not for the citizen who live in Russia. Also, you can see the firewoods. And it's very funny because Russia was the biggest country that exports the natural gas, but they don't have enough natural gas for their own people. That's why everywhere on the middle of nowhere or near the Saint Petersburg, near the Moscow, people still use firewoods instead of the natural gas. What can I say, man? You didn't need to go to the Ukraine. You need to fix the road in your village. You need, to fix the problem with the natural gas in your village. You need to build something, not to destroy, because you live in this shithole. By the way, the nature is beautiful. You see these trees. It's really nice. But Russians, they destroy everything. They destroy the place where they live, and they destroy the place where I live, because that's how they live. And by the way, this is not just an ordinary house. As I understand, this is a house of the culture, and people who wanna respect the memory of this guy, they could come to this house of the culture and pay respect.
Алтайский край, город Бийск, привет.
The best way to understand what is a life in that city, just check the local.
А про елочку-то скажите нам. Елочка нравится?
А я 10 лет, 10 тысяч пенсии получаю, 2 высшее образования. Получил пенсию 10 тысяч, 5 лет на карте. На что я живу? Хуй без соли доедаю. Елочка мне нравится. Елочка, блядь, мне нравится.